Good day, guys. Austin here, and in this, well, it's not a tutorial, I suppose. It's a Hyperspin troubleshooting video. So basically, we're at the stage where you've got your system set up, but when you go to play something, it's not working. Or you've got to a stage within the setup, and something isn't doing what it's supposed to do. So I've made this video here to try and help some of you. There are some telltale signals that give out when you're setting up Hyperspin, and it's usually something really simple, but I suppose unless you've had the experience of setting up quite a few systems, you may not know what to do. I mean, Hyperspin, yes, it's easy when you know what you're doing. It's very complicated when you don't. I mean, I'm trying to teach you as much as I can, but there are things that aren't in my guides because everybody's system's different. Everybody, they've all got different stuff going on. So, well, let's have a look at some of these signs anyway and see if we can help some of you out. Okay then, first off, we're going to go through it in a logical order. So we're going to do it as if you are setting the system up, and things that might appear wrong or might not happen the way you like it or the way that it's supposed to as we're setting it up. Okay, so first thing we do as you're going through my tutorials is, first off, we set up HyperLaunch. Or we set the system up in HyperLaunch. So, brain fuck, let's have a look. Okay, let's go to our folder. Let's go find HyperLaunch. So mine's in my D drive. Hyperspin doesn't make any difference to this video where it is. What we're going to do is we're going to load up HyperLaunchHQ, and we're going to act as in something's going wrong with the actual setup. Come on, here we go. Right, so this is where we're at the moment in time. Obviously, probably completely different from yours, but this is what we've got for our HyperLaunch. I'm going to full screen this. Often when you're using HyperLaunch, if you haven't got full screened or if you've got it a little bit warped, sometimes you lose tabs. See around here, when you squeeze it in, tabs, things change. When you open it up, sometimes things appear. So that's the first troubleshooting sign. Okay. Right, let's get stuck in. Let's get to the nitty gritty. First off, we're going to show you, well, the first sign that something starts to go wrong is, say for example, you input in the system, let's pick one that we haven't done yet, Sega CD. So we've inputted so far the ROM path and we've inputted the default emulator. Right, we think everything's good, then we go to our game setting and we go to audit, yeah, whatever, and something like this happens. Basically all the ROMs are in red. This can be one of three things. Okay, first off, basically the ROMs aren't named correctly. Well, before we do that, let's have a look at where else it could be more simple. Okay, the most simple solution to this is go back into the emulators tab. The ROM path that you've given is incorrect. So basically what this is doing in this audit, when we press the little blue button, is it's having a look at all the games that you've given in your emulator's ROM path and comparing it to the database for that system. Now, the database has to be identical to the name of the ROMs. So, if you have got the ROM path wrong, it can't find any ROMs in the first place for it to compare to the database. So, it's showing that all of them are red because it can't find them in the database. It can't find the names filed as these in the database or in your ROM folder. So it shows up as red, saying no, ain't playing, I don't recognize anything in here. Okay, next thing, like I said, is the names. So basically you have got the right folder in here, the ROM path. However, the names of the ROMs, games, whatever you want to call them, are all labeled incorrectly. It may be slight little differences. I mean, even the capital letters or the naming convention. So the name might be correct, but it's got a different ending on the end here. The slightest little variation, and it's just gonna fuck you off. It's gonna say, nah, I ain't playing with you. You're talking shit to me. So the only way you can get around that, if it is named correctly, and I don't know, the folder is right, then is to rename them, I suppose. So there's certain tools you can use for that. We'll cover them in later videos. Basically, you've got FatMatch, Don's Hyper Tools. You can look into those for the time being. Basically, they are tools to rename in batches. However, be careful. These are not 100%. They just guesstimate at the best percentage wise, but you will find there's a lot of errors in there, so you have to still go through one by one and make sure it's the correct naming. Again, we'll cover this in later videos, but the options are there if you want to look into them for now. The other version is the long way. Basically, you go through each one of these and you rename each game in that folder to match identically with the ones that are in here. Now that's alright if you've only got a few games, but if you've got a system which is, you know, a few hundred games, you're going to spend a lot of time renaming games. And to be honest, if you're anything like me on a keyboard, you're still going to end up with spelling mistakes anyway. Okay, so that's what happens when things are red. The only other thing which can happen is, and this is where it starts getting a bit more complicated, and I've tried my best to help you with my setups, but you still may have this error. Basically, they're all showing up in red, everything's named correctly, and you've got the ROMs. So what the fuck's going on here? Basically, the other thing that can be going on is the ROM extension in HyperLaunch isn't recognized. So you've managed to scour the internet, or you've managed to dump your ROMs, or whatever it is you do to get your games, and basically the games are not, how can we say, your normal format. So the extension on the end, for example, for, I don't know, think of a system, Nintendo 64, they can be in, let me think, V64, N64, A64, G64, and loads of different other file extensions on the end. So for you to use the games, you need all of those extensions inputted in HyperLaunchHQ. Now, as default, that's mostly set up almost 100%. However, there can be, you found some crazy site somewhere that's found some crazy ROMs, and HyperLaunch is like, what the fuck, I've never seen these before. No one's inputted them extensions in. If that is the case, best thing to do is, first off, make sure you have got the right ROM set for a start. Then if you are correct and you think, well, they should be working, then okay, let's give it a go. Let's show you how to do this. First thing to do is go over to global settings, and in there you will see brain fuck today. I'm still hungover from the weekend. Okay, global settings, emulators, come all the way down, and you see this second row here where it's got the extensions. Basically all these extensions is this is the emulators for all the different systems that you can run. Admittedly, a lot of these emulators are obsolete, old, and pretty shit, and been superseded by more present day emulators. RetroArch, for a start, covers, you know, probably 90% of these emulators and wipes them so they're useless. However, going off topic, here we are. Here's RetroArch, one of the main players, and there is a hell of a lot of extensions for games in this. So I don't know, you've managed to find one. I think somebody was saying they've managed to find a Mega Drive or a Genesis game which had the ROM extension or game extension of Gen, G-E-N, Golf Echo November, and basically that was flagging up an issue. Well, it will be, because from what I can see, we haven't got that in our ROM extensions. So what a perfect example. What we're going to do is we're going to click on to the actual emulator thing, wherever it is, and now everything's good. If everything's good, you'll have no red things anywhere. That's basically saying, yep, this is good, I'm happy with this. However, your ROMs may not be. So let's see, can anybody see it? I can't. Gen. No. So yeah, it looks like that one is missing from the list. So on the end here, now this is slightly different from HyperHQ if you're experienced with putting your extensions in there. What we have to do here is press, in my case, I don't even know what this sign's called. It's a straight line going from top to bottom. You can see it next to it's divided, as you can see, these ones. On my keyboard, it's next to the Z key. So I would have to press Shift and the key next to the Z key to make the straight line up and down. What the fuck's that called? If someone could put that in the comment section, that'd be mostly appreciated, because it's embarrassing not knowing what that symbol's called. Okay, so what we do is we put that in. No spaces, no anything, and then we will put the ROM extension. Now, again, this is case sensitive, but I believe that the dude who was asking for this help in this one, he was putting G-E-N. Okay, so now We don't need to do anything else on here. Modules all set up correct, GUI path, whatever, name, yeah, everything's cool. We don't need to change anything else. Obviously you don't put gen in here. You may have some extension which is completely crazy, but please ensure that these actually are the right ROMs, because I mean, it's not going to do no harm putting extra extensions in here as long as they're named correctly, but you know, you're just filling up full of shit for no reason. So make sure that first of all they are legit ROMs or games, and that you are doing this correctly. I'm waffling on again, I'm still drunk. Okay, so we've done that, the extension's in there, hopefully everything's tickety-boo. So now when I press the X, that should save. Just to confirm, on the end there it shows me that it's saved in there. Now we can go back onto our system. It's not going to do it for me because I haven't set the system up, but now, say for example, I'm going to go into this one. Now when we go on to our games and we do audit, everything should be green like this. And that's what happens if you have red here. Yep. Now how easy was that? Not too bad at all. It's quite a lengthy tutorial, but what I'm trying to do is actually teach you things rather than tell you how to do things. Okay, so, well, that's it for that one. I'm gonna end this video and smash this one out. I'm gonna make a few more of these little ones now, and hopefully they will help a lot of you guys out for any troubles that you've got. Okay, exit out of here, and you guys have fun.